Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing an experiment here in the kitchen. So, do you want to be part of it? Stay tuned. So, what I have taken here is the gooseberry. Yeah, so these are the gooseberries, the frozen gooseberries, because of course, in this country you can't find the real gooseberries. So, I've taken out the frozen gooseberries right from the freezer and I'm gonna do some experiment with these. So I'm gonna make vitamin antioxidant bombs, gooseberry bombs in sugar syrup. So yeah, stay tuned. So first of all, in order to prepare our gooseberries, we are gonna boil them for about 3 minutes. This process will make sure that all the impurities or all the microbes, if any present in these gooseberries, are sterilized, and that we can store these gooseberries for a little longer in our shelves, because otherwise these have a tendency to get rotten very, very easily. So as you can see, the water has come to a boiling point and you can see these small, small bubbles. So at this point, we are gonna set a timer for about 3 minutes and gonna check our gooseberries after 3 minutes. And if it looks fine, then we are gonna probably strain it out and gonna start preparing our sweet gooseberry bombs. So at this point, you can actually start to smell that gooseberry flavor in the juices. And since this is an experimental recipe and which I'm trying on my own, I have to check whether these are done, which I think they are, because this is easily going inside the gooseberries. And oops, it's dancing. See? So they're done. So in about 3 minutes we are done, and I'm gonna turn off the heater and then I'm straight away gonna transfer it to another bowl. I'm gonna strain it. So as you can see, I have strained it and kept it on the top of the empty bowl. And now I'm gonna prepare the sugar. So what are we gonna do? So we're gonna take an approximate weight of this boiled gooseberry, and how much ever amount of gooseberry you have taken, you have to take 1.5 times more sugar. So let me show you. So here I have measured my sugar. Accordingly, you can measure your sugar, and when you think your sugar is in the right proportion, add in all the boiled gooseberries that you prepared earlier and turn on the gas or heater, whatever you're working on, and add just a little bit of water. Do not add a lot of water. So the purpose of adding water here is just to make sure the sugar is going to melt in a uniform way. Otherwise, there is a tendency that it will get hardened very soon. So add just a little bit of water and let the sugar melt naturally. And then we have to cook this sugar syrup until we get a nice stringy, viscous consistency of the sugar. So I will show that later. So at this step, look at these beautiful gooseberries that are getting cooked in this sugar syrup. Isn't it looking really gorgeous? So now it's time to check the consistency of the sugar syrup. Now this sugar syrup has been boiling since past 15 minutes, and now I'm going to check for the consistency of the sugar syrup. So I'm just going to take some of it in a spoon and I'm going to do the string test to check how strong and how viscous the sugar syrup is. And let me show you. So just dab in your finger in it and then check with the help of your thumb how stringy it is. Well, looks a little bit perfect to me. I'll leave it to boil for another 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna check my amlas or my gooseberries. As you can see, the texture of the gooseberries has changed. You can see these little textural changes on the surface of the gooseberries. You can see these partition lines defined very nicely on these gooseberries. That means that the gooseberries are cooked well and they have absorbed quite a significant amount of sugar. And yeah, they're looking good. So at this point, I'm just gonna turn off the heater. I want to bring them not exactly to room temperature, but I want to cool them a bit because meanwhile I'm gonna add some of the spices to it, salt, pepper, things like that. So one important consideration when you're preparing this gooseberry bombs is that do not use any kind of reactive material. Use only the non-stick pans or maybe the glasswares. Do not use iron, aluminium, or things like that because it's gonna react with your acidic gooseberries and it's gonna spoil the whole recipe. So at this point, I'm waiting it for a little bit of temperature decrease in the gooseberries, and then I'm gonna show you what all to add to the gooseberries. You can stir like this and circular motion to cool it faster. And I'm just showing you in slow-mo how beautiful it looks. Now it's time to add some spices. I'm gonna go for these two spices from my spice palette. So cardamom, and I'm gonna go for black pepper. So cardamom and black pepper we need to crush and add in the powder form to these beautiful gooseberry sugar syrup. And as you can see, I have taken out these mini cardamoms. I'm gonna crush them a bit. I'm gonna take out the seeds, kind of make fine powder out of these cardamom seeds. I'm gonna add it to my gooseberry sugar syrup. And similarly, repeating the procedure for these black peppercorns. I've crushed them and made a powder out of it. I've added it to my gooseberry sugar syrup. And then it's time to add black salt. So you can add it according to your taste. I guess half to 1 teaspoon would be fine because that black salt has a very distinct odor to it. So just be careful when you're adding it. Do not add too much or it's gonna stink. So the warmth of the mixture really helps dissolve these beautiful ingredients and help us incorporate well in the sugar syrup. And now it's time to find out a nice glass jar in which you can store them. So I found this glass jar, and when my gooseberries are cooled completely and they are in the room temperature, I'm adding it to this glass container in which I'm going to store them. So as you can see, I have transferred these gooseberries along with the sugar syrup to this glass jar. It is very important that you store it in a non-reactive material, because if you store it in steel or any other kind of metal, it's not going to be that fresh. It's going to probably react with the material. So make sure you are using glass or either food grade plastic, and just let it cool down more if you feel it's still hot or still warm. So do not close the lid, do not close the jar until you're 100% sure that it's cooled down perfectly. So you can have it after 24 hours, or you can have it immediately as well. I prefer showing it some sunlight for a few days. And as you can see, after 3 days, I've already eaten like a couple of them. But yeah, I'm gonna show you how it looks after 3 days of making it. Wow.
Wow. It's so soft though.
It's looking really amazing, right?
Yeah. I love how soft it is despite being frozen, because I've had this in India and I never found it so soft. So maybe I don't know what's the reason, but I'm gonna taste it. Wow.
So do try it in your kitchen and let me know how you found it. If you have any suggestions or comments, you're always welcome to tell me in the comment box below. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Bye bye. Have a nice day.